6ix9ine pleaded guilty to some pretty serious charges that he doesn't even want you to know about. And some of these are so bad he should have never been in the spotlight to begin with. Number 5. He's already pleaded guilty.
Documents which reveal that 6ix9ine has pled guilty to 9 counts of racketeering, firearms offenses, and drug trafficking.
If you're not familiar with the case, then you might be wondering why the notion of life in prison for 6ix9ine is even on the table at all. Well, it's because of several of the charges that 6ix9ine was charged with can carry life sentences in certain matters. In this case, there's racketeering and conspiracy and the circumstances surrounding them, and it's all a big part of why life is on the table. And yeah, and the irony of it all is that if he doesn't even get the max sentence of life, he could still end up in jail for 47 years, which is pretty much most of his life anyway. But I'll focus on him just getting life in prison. One of the biggest things to help seal his fate is his own words. Mainly, he recently pleaded guilty in doing many of these charges, as reported by numerous outlets. And at the beginning of February, 6ix9ine openly confessed in court to being guilty of 9 federal charges that were lobbied against him. That's right, 9. And that's a lot. And him pleading guilty is a sign that he knows he's not going to get out scot-free. And more on that in a bit. Most importantly, for those thinking he pleaded guilty for the lesser of charges, that's actually not the case. He went and pleaded guilty to selling illegal firearms and substances and numerous charges of creating an illegal enterprise and even putting out a hit on another person. So by pleading guilty, he's basically admitting that he's done, he's screwed, and won't be getting out of jail at all.
No, 2 things. I'm not gonna. I fear God. And I fear the FBI.
Now, whether life in prison for 6ix9ine happens is still up for debate, but it's certainly leaning that way, and I bet prosecutors have made it perfectly clear to him that he wasn't getting out of the hole that he dug himself into. And so, at least to help himself a little, he better plead guilty, and that's exactly what he did. His fate was not sealed yet, and by no means, but his own words have helped him speed it along. I apologize to the court, to anyone who was hurt, to my family, friends, and fans for what I've done and who I've let down. Number 4. The art of a plea deal.
Picking up a deal now. TMZ confirmed that on January the 23rd, that Tekashi 6ix9ine did strike a deal.
Now, if you're familiar with the law and you know how things work, you'll likely have sniffed out that 6ix9ine probably got himself a plea deal, meaning that he took a deal in order to get himself a reduced sentence, and then go against his own crew members. And you would be right. As many have reported, his confession is but a single step to help the other crew members get convicted. This is a smart move for 6ix9ine in certain ways, as he's helping himself while actually doing some good in the world, so by that token, you might think that the rapper isn't going to get life in prison because he's helping them out, and taking down the other members of the group who were both arrested, and the ones who are out there in the world right now walking free. But it's not that simple. Remember, he was brought up on numerous charges and he pleaded guilty on 9 of them. That's a lot. And if I was pleading guilty to 1 and this happened, then I would likely agree with you. But since he's pleaded guilty to 9 of them, and some of the ones that he's pleaded guilty to are ones that focused on him going to life in prison, yeah, there might be more going on here than you might realize. One of the biggest things is that he is going to prison for some time no matter what. There's no way he's gonna get out of this. You just don't plead guilty for these charges and just walk away scot-free. Especially since these are federal charges and they carry a lot of weight. So more than likely, 6ix9ine decided to take a plea deal to make sure that when he's in prison, he doesn't have anything to worry about in terms of someone attacking or assaulting him. When 6ix9ine was first arrested in November, he was put in general population, where just about every criminal in the prison roams free. And 6ix9ine and his lawyer explained to the presiding judge that he was in danger by being there with the other criminals, or just as bad, some of the other members of the group that got arrested with him. While he was eventually moved to an area that had non-violent offenders, he was still in prison. And that's what's sticking in his mind. By putting himself in line for a plea deal, by putting up a very big target on his back as well, he just wants to make sure that he's protected from everyone who might do him harm, which is actually quite a smart move. After all, the FBI is behind this case. And that means that they're working hard to nail both him and his former crewmates, which he broke up with him before getting arrested, ironically enough. Well, with 6ix9ine now rolling on his former crew, they're going to be using him as an information mule, which makes him somewhat invaluable. And to that end, they'll go to great lengths to protect him in order to ensure that they get as much valuable information out of him so that they can get more criminals off the street. But despite all the good he's doing, that doesn't mean he's getting out of life in prison. There's no way. Just as easily, it means that he's in prison for a while and you'll have some special privileges, and again, it's protected from harm. Number 3, they're not in any hurry to sentence him. If you live in the United States, then you'll know that the court system there is a bit convoluted and outstretched, and basically it's not very efficient, especially when it comes to big cases of the country. However, that also works in their advantage at times with specific people like 6ix9ine. For after all that you've just heard, you're likely thinking that he'll be sentenced pretty soon, right? Because he's helping out the court and the FBI take down his former crew. Well, yeah, you're wrong. At present, the rapper is actually set to be sentenced no earlier than January 2020. Yeah, that's right. He pleaded guilty and is going to be spending a year in jail before he can actually get his sentence. That might seem wrong to you, but honestly, this circles back to the plea deal. More than likely, they're making sure that 6ix9ine is as helpful as he promised to be. And if not, they're gonna make sure that he's punished for backing out of the deal. More than that, this year gives them plenty of time to act on information that he's giving them. And again, the way the law works isn't efficient at times, but what's even worse is going in half-cocked with bad information. So they're no doubt gonna use this year to do as much damage to his former crew as possible while under their supervision, because once the plea deal is signed and executed through the judge's permission, it is in effect. And they don't want 6ix9ine to get off easily and then ruin the deal. Plus, the time lapse between the confession and the sentencings prove that they know 6ix9ine isn't going anywhere soon. Even if it was just him spending a year in jail in return for the deal, which would have been a miracle, they would have not held him for this long. It shows that he's getting a long prison sentence, and there's no hurry to speed that up, which points to him still getting life in prison. Yeah, gotta love the system. Number 2, charges are still piling up.
I'm mad all these haters that wish I was in jail is y'all are sick, stupid.
One of the most ironic things about the career and life of 6ix9ine is that just when you think he's done something that's gonna get him in jail, he gets out. And then does something even worse, and trust me, I'll be talking about that in a bit. But even with him in jail and going to be serving a long prison sentence, there are still charges being filed against him right now. Yeah, not even kidding. Not long after his confession in court, his former girlfriend and mother of his child, Sarah Molina, came out and stated that 6ix9ine not only mistreated her regularly, but actually forced himself on her.
Been around this long either. I've been after him in a way that I just can't be anymore,
which resulted in the child being born. And later on, when he confessed to having been with multiple women and even mistreated her even more after bringing one of them up. Yeah, rightfully so, you might be wondering how legitimate this claim is. And after all, she's confessing after he pleaded guilty to federal charges. But think of it from this perspective. When it comes right down to it, she might not have felt safe from him until his charges were made clear in regards to whether he was guilty or innocent. And again, he was going to prison, which means she felt a bit more safe from him. And they only broke up for a little bit before he went to prison, despite having another girlfriend, which apparently lined up. So it's likely she was afraid if he somehow got off the charges and he would come back to her. So by admitting that he did this, she's ensuring that even a lesser sentence could become more because of this nature and all the other crimes he did to her, and this would add to his sentence. So even if the plea deal did reduce his time per se, this charge and others could be found in the year to come, which could even add more time to his docket. And even if life in terms of how the court system defines it, it would definitely be life in terms of how long he'd be in there with all those charges. There's no doubt. Number 1, his luck has run out. If there's a singular word that you can attach to the man known as 6ix9ine, what do you think it would be? Rapper? That might be one. Guilty is likely the one you think of at the present moment, given his court situation. But in truth, the word that describes 6ix9ine is evasion. No, not evading the law. His record shows that he's actually quite good at getting arrested. Rather, he evades getting any jail time. Like seriously, it's like a superpower for him. It's ridiculous. He goes and does stupid things, and which again, he's confessed to. And then in return, he gets arrested, and then either isn't charged, or gets literally just a slap on the wrist. He's done it multiple times over his career, and it even started before he was an official rapper. He went and did a video with some girls to boost his cred, but the dude didn't check the girls' ages, and they were both underage. This was a big crime, and yet, because he took a plea deal, sound familiar? He got probation, community service, and had to complete his GED with a certain time period. But guess what? He didn't do that. Did they punish him? No. And due to his current predicament, the case was permanently closed. Or how about the time that a fan tried to videotape him and 6ix9ine went after him? Yeah, he was in a mall and saw this happening and started threatening him. And when the kid refused to delete the footage, 6ix9ine grabbed him in a very aggressive manner and then left the state after the incident was over, and he went to New York, but later was arrested for having a warrant in Texas, where it all went down. And when the court was dead to rights, and then the victim came forward and asked the judge not to convict him. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. It's true though, this is not a joke. And even afterwards, they took a picture together. You just can't make this stuff up. Oh, did I mention he battered a cop? Yeah. It didn't even get charged and found guilty? Yeah. He caused numerous incidents and not a single day of jail time. And on he went. He was the luckiest guy on this earth, but they also got the attention of the FBI, who went and started to build a case against 6ix9ine, and that led to his major arrest in November. So as you can see, you can run on for a long time, but sooner or later, they will cut you down. And that time is now. His luck is out and his sentence is coming. And it's likely gonna be for life. So there you have it, some big reasons that 6ix9ine will likely be spending the rest of his life in prison. So do you agree with what you've heard? Also, what do you think will happen to the rapper next? And if not life in prison, what should he get? Let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Hey, just a reminder that we're changing up the giveaways. From now on, we're offering the Galaxy Note 9, the one that comes with the exclusive Fortnite skin, the new iPhone X Max, which we'll pre-order for you, and the new Apple Watch Series 4, which we'll also pre-order for you. The winner gets to decide between these three. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, drop a like, and comment the hidden message in the video for a chance to win. You got nothing to lose. Go for it.